already know just where I be, dog. I ain't being cocky, but Philly what I'm reppin'. Watch me check it like it's hockey. I ain't tryna get it twisted. If you get it, then you got me. If you with it, cool. If not, I'll treat you like a Tamagotchi. I'ma let you down point. Yeah, I never disappoint.
What's going on, guys? JHoyt back with you today. Welcome back to a little bit of a different video here on NHL 19. So the other day I was kind of thinking about, what would be a cool video idea, and it was kind of got to my attention that challenges. And not only that challenges, but we're going to go in franchise mode. We already created the best young superstars or star players, the young, very good young players. We put them all on one team. The challenge is, can we win the Stanley Cup in the first year with these young stars, young good players? Well, you might be asking, who's on that team? Well, you're going to find out shortly. But in order to do this game mode, we kind of had to replace one team in the NHL, and that team was the Arizona Coyotes. So we do have an AHL team. We're not going to use anyone from it, and we're not going to have injuries on. So don't worry about them. So just pretend they just don't exist. And we have everyone in the NHL. I should also mention that since you're on this screen, you can kind of see our team name. I didn't do any customization with this team. So the jerseys are the default ones. When you go to create a team, the name's the same, the arena, everything. So nothing is customized. I didn't really feel like going through and, doing all that stuff. It just kind of felt irrelevant. But if you look at our team status, it says we're a champion. So champion level, usually you have a pretty good team. So if you had to pick, a bunch of good young players. Now when I say young players, I believe everyone on my team is under the age of 23. I believe one player's at 23. I think the rest of them are under 22. So just bear that in mind. So I'd say give me the best team you could possibly make under the age of 23. And while you're leaving that down in the comment section, make sure you hit a like button on the way back up to the video. Are you guys ready to see the team? I think you guys are ready. Alright, let's get right into it. Show you guys the team. The forward lines. We have Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, and Patrick Laine as our first line. Second line, Mikko Rantanen, Austin Matthews, David Pastrnak. Third line of Sebastian Aho, Jack Eichel, and Mitch Marner. And on the fourth line, we have Clayton Keller, Matthew Barzal, and William Nylander. So, yes, there are better players that could have been on this team. I had Nico Hischier on here as possible option. I had who was it? There was a couple other players that were good and young that possibly could have made the team. And the way I kind of broke the tiebreaker of who should I have is how they did in real life. So, this is kind of in order of how they did in real life, according to, I think it was last year and the year before. And if they've only played like 1 year, then I kind of, put them at the bottom of the list because, the guys that have been here for a little bit longer kind of deserve that opportunity. But, yeah, this is the forwards. I mean, a lot of, kind of obvious picks. But did you have all these guys on your team? If you didn't have some of these guys, who did you pick? And onto defensemen. Now this one was a little bit more difficult because there's guys that are like Matt Dumba, who's already like 24, 25 years old. So I didn't include guys like that. But this is a team that I was able to make. Zach Werenski, Aaron Ekblad, Noah Hannafin, Charlie McAvoy, Rasmus Dahlin, or Dahlin, whatever his name is, and Brandon Carlo. Now, the left defenseman, I had a couple other ones. I had Provorov from Philadelphia, and I think there was one. I had Tomas Chabot, who's actually done really well this year. But I felt like these, kind of three would be kind of most, like it makes the most sense to get these three guys. Dahlin's only there because of his kind of potential more than what he's already done, obviously, because it's his rookie year. And right defenseman was a little bit harder because you obviously have guys like Ekblad and McAvoy, but other than that, you didn't really have like any other right-handed defenseman. So as I was scrolling through, I started writing them down. I was like, there's that guy from Chicago that's young, but he's like hasn't really done much yet. And I was like, you know what, Brandon Carlo, he's young. Let's put him in there. But a decent defense. I mean, we have a really good top four, and then we have a pretty still good top 6. And then the last thing we really have to look at is the goaltenders. Now, this one might be kind of obvious if you guys pay attention to the NHL a little bit. One's doing very well this year. The other one's riding it out in the AHL, I believe. But goaltenders, Saros from Nashville, who's the only 23-year-old, but he was 22 when I started. He turned, I believe, 23 in the preseason. I think I might have to double check that one. And Thatcher Demko, who is in the Vancouver organization, who's supposedly good and young. I was going to pick Subban from Vegas, but he was actually, I think, 24, 25 at the time. So I didn't do that. And then we have nobody scratched. And like I said, we have our AHL team down here, but we're not going to touch any of them. So, just kind of forget that they are there. But what do you guys think of the team? I mean, we have, obviously, the young superstars, young franchise players. And, McDavid, Line, Eichel, Matthews, like every single one of these guys is a key young player for their respective teams. Same thing on defense, and same thing in goal. But like I said, the goal of this video, kind of this series, is to win the Stanley Cup. Make it to the playoffs. However, we're going to break this kind of mini series into 2 parts. The first part is going to be till about January or so. I think that's about half the season. And then the second part will be, after January through the playoffs, if we make it there. And, then we'll kind of review stats and all that stuff along the way. But anyway, guys, are you guys ready to get started on this series, this challenge, I guess I'll call it? Because if you are, I am as well. Like I said, injuries are off. We're not using the AHL team at all. And without further ado, let's get into the video. So, yeah, let's go to about January or so. I think I tried to record this before, and the audio messed up. So we went to actually February 1st is where we went to, and we actually did really well in the first time I recorded it. So hopefully this second time will do just as well. And like I said earlier as well, I didn't do any customization. I didn't change the name, the logo, nothing. So. I'm sorry if you guys wanted some crazy elaborate video, but I really didn't feel like spending like 3 hours, going through and doing the customization with the team, especially when it's only kind of like a 2-video series, and it's not really giving me much of anything. But also another thing is I turned off trades, I turned off injuries. What else did I turn off? I turned off morale and all that stuff. So the only teams that can make trades is myself with any other team, but we're not going to be making any trades. We're not going to be going to get more players. And this is going to be our team for the rest of the year. So, I mean, a very good start. 10-1-4. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, before in the previous recording that it messed up, I think we were like 32-16 and whatever when we stopped the recording. So, if we keep going on this pace, we'll kind of reach what we were at that point. But actually, what I wanted to do, well, let's just do this. Let's get rid of the trade block, and then I need to go set it to a couple months shorter so we can kind of change around some lines if we need to. So we're not going to completely ignore them, but let's get into some changes and then get back to the simulator. We did fix it. The trade block, everything is off of it, so hopefully we don't get any more trades because we don't want anything. We don't have anything extra and, all that fun stuff. But we still have these stupid notifications about the amateur scout. And like I said, we're not doing anything as far as scouting-wise or anything else. But we are simulating up to November 30th or December 1st, I guess, whichever you want to call it. And, we actually kind of have struggled a little bit recently, losing some games. We're on at least a 3-game losing streak. So let's go into our stats and figure out what's going to go wrong here. What can we fix to make our team, do better? And kind of no surprise, team leader in points, Connor McDavid on the first line. But let's see what's going on with our team that we could possibly fix. And, kind of all that fun stuff. So centers-wise, kind of goes right down the list. Draisaitl is our first line left wing and not our third line centerman. But that kind of goes right down the line of how they're positioned. What was he at? 21 points. So that's still very good as our first line center. Radnan's kind of struggling a little bit, so we'll have to swap him down to the fourth line and move Keller up and then move Aho up to the first line to see how that does. Line A, I think this goes down the line as well as far as where they're positioned. Defenseman, McAvoy's on top. He's playing with Who's he playing with? He's playing with... He's on our second line, actually, because Ekblad's on our first line. So we might have to swap around our defense maybe a little bit. And then defend goaltenders. All right, so Demko's not doing the greatest. So he's 1-4. And Saros seems to be performing real well. So you absolutely love to see that one. So let's go swap around some lines, see if that helps, and see if it breaks this little losing streak that we have earned. All right, let's continue on here. We swapped around some lines. We put Ratnan on the fourth line. We moved Aho up to the second line. We moved Keller from the fourth line to the third line. Ratnan's on our fourth line. All the centers and right wing stayed the same. On the defense, we moved Werenski to the third line, Dahlin to the second line, and Hannafin to the first line, while putting Ekblad on the second line and McAvoy on the first line. Now, I know there's a bunch of confusing, kind of lineup, shake up a little bit, but you'll see it at the end of the video here. And 24, 8, and 5, this is kind of very similar to what I saw before in the previous recording. So, absolutely kind of definitely expected to see that. I mean, we're just dominating right now. And as long as we can beat everyone in our division and make it to the playoffs, anything can happen there. And, I'm just excited. I mean, our team is absolutely fantastic with, the young superstars and young franchise players. If our backup goaltender and Thatcher Demko could play a little bit better, then we wouldn't be losing some of these games. And, we can finally get above that 30-win mark. Hopefully we can do that in this next couple of games. That way it'll look a little bit better going into part 2. And simulation stopped. Okay, there we go. I was about to say, it was kind of frozen there for a second. All right, what do we got? Did we win that last game? No, we didn't. So we end the video so far at 31, 14, and 5. So essentially 31 and 19. Very similar to what we had before, like I said. But who's still leading in points? I'm guessing it's McDavid. There we go. 62 points. We are at the top of the Pacific Division. And right behind us is the San Jose Sharks. And who's behind them? Vegas and then Anaheim. So, okay. So we're doing great. We have 50 games played so far. Let's go in, check the stats one more time. And then we'll check some more of the team stats. And then we'll move on to part 2. So forwards, let's go. So first line is on top, no question there. I think, no. So Aho fell behind a little bit. So Keller's actually doing real well. So we'll have to move him up to the second line. And then we'll have to move Aho down to the third line. And then Ratnan's still down here at 23 points. I don't know what it is, but he just hasn't really performed. Maybe without Nathan McKinnon and Landeskog, he's just kind of lost without them, which kind of begs the question, how old is McKinnon? Because I'm pretty sure I checked him. He's 23. So I probably could have had him on our team, to be honest, but he didn't. So it looks like the other version of Ratnan is working for them, at least. I mean, he's playing alongside his two good teammates there, I would guess. So, good for them, I guess. But our forwards can a little bit of a shake-up. And it seemed to be working out. Our defense, kind of around the same. Everyone with a couple more points here and there. I mean, nothing really too crazy there. Goaltenders, look at that. Thatcher Demko has started to perform, finally. And, Saros has had a few more losses since we last checked in with him. 5 shutouts. And as long as Demko can kind of maintain wins for us, we're not looking for anything crazy from him. So, absolutely fantastic performance so far from Saros. I mean, Demko stepped it up recently, which is great. Let's go in and check on the team stats. So we are first in the league with 67 points. Like I said earlier, San Jose is right behind us with 66. Let's go into it, though. Goals for 176. We are ahead by a whole bunch. Goals for per game, 3.5. So we're scoring a lot of goals. Goals against. This is on the Pacific Division. I probably should go to the entire league. Okay, so it looks like Pittsburgh. So we are not first in the league. That's my mistake. But we are fourth in the league behind Nashville, Tampa Bay, and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh absolutely going off right now. Let's check in on the goals once again. So we are leading the league in goals for. Goals for per game we are leading. Goals against, we are 125. So we are a pretty good defensive team. I mean, it looks like we're in the top 15 or so. Goals against per game, we are, where are we? We're down a little bit here. There we are. So we're at 2.5 goals per game. Power play goals, that's the bottom. We are the top power play. I mean, kind of to be expected there. Power play percentage, we are number 1. Shorthanded goals against, we are at 2, which is at the bottom. It looks like power play goals against, that's good. So we have a really good penalty kill. What is our thing? Okay, so 86.1. So we have a very good penalty kill and power play. And our records are 16-8 away, or at home, excuse me. Away, we are 15-6-5. And in the last 10, we are 5-5. So, you know, we kind of have some good competition. You know, if I had to guess, you know, I would still obviously have confidence in my team that we could go to the Stanley Cup Finals. So it looks like there's 2 Eastern Conference that would probably meet in the Eastern Conference Finals, if that's possible. And 2 that would meet in the Western Finals in us and Nashville. So, I mean, we're looking good so far. 67 points is nothing to look away from. You know, yes, we have a couple teams on top of us, but as long as we're maintaining the top of our division, we're pretty much guaranteed the playoffs. And, you know, the only team we really have to beat right now is the San Jose Sharks, you know, and with a couple teams kind of lingering in the background. But, hey, we're doing great so far. You know, this was actually a really fun challenge. You know, stay tuned for part number 2. That'll be coming out here in the next, you know, week or so, as well as some other videos. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But guys, I'm going to wrap this one up here. If you did enjoy, hit the like button down below. If you have not already, hit the subscribe button. And as always, guys, we'll see you next time.
I want you forever, even when we're not together. Scars on my body so I can take you wherever. Like, I want you forever, even when we're not together. Scars on my body, I can look at you and never